You know, I'm going to show no mercy. None. Some of you guys are going to get mad and write some fucked up comments. A couple may even unsubscribe because it just can't take the LeBron hate anymore. But you brought it on yourselves. You brought it on yourselves. You constantly keep feeding into the hype, into this bullshit. I keep trying to warn you guys, he's not Jordan. He's not that type of player. Okay? He's not. As 78 said in his video yesterday, he's more of a Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson type player. He's more of that type. Okay? But even those great players, even Magic Johnson, Mr. Orchestrate the Band, would have become a solo artist in those waning moments of the game. Don't you think? Don't you honestly think that he would have let his Lakers blow a lead like that? In the most pivotal game of the series, Game 3, this was a must-win for his team. And you shoot ridiculous fall-away jumpers when you don't fucking have one? You're not Michael Jordan, goddammit! That's not your strength. You're supposedly one of the greatest fucking drivers to the basket in NBA history. Oscar Robertson would have let that happen. As great an all-around player as they were, in those moments, they wouldn't have let their teams lose. Okay? They wouldn't have. Or they would have went down their shield, doing everything they could to prevent that from happening. But I seriously doubt that those great players, Jordan, Kareem, they wouldn't have let this shit happen. And let me say this too. I left a comment on a video where I said that if LeBron left Cleveland, that he wouldn't be in the same stratosphere as various players, but I included Bill Russell. And someone mentioned me that if I think Bill Russell's a top 10 player, then I don't know basketball. Let me tell you something. You probably don't even listen to this video, but let me fucking tell you something. I've made arguments as to why I think Bill Russell is somewhat overrated because of his rings, okay? Because sometimes his game just becomes forgotten. It becomes only about the championships. But let me tell you something. Bill Russell is arguably a top 5 all-time athlete at his position. You see this 80-year-old man now who walks with a cane, 82-year-old to be precise. You see this old man who walks with a cane. And in your feeble, weak-ass mind, you can't imagine this man once being a graceful athlete. This was a man who, probably in his prime, had something close to a 40-inch vertical. If memory serves correct, I think in 1956 he was a top 10 athlete as far as high jumping in the world. Not in California, not in Seattle, not in the United States, in the fucking world. Now, did he have holes in his game? Yeah. He wasn't the greatest scorer, okay? 14 points per game scoring average. Had a couple seasons averaging 17, 18. But he wasn't the guy who's going to give you 30 consistently. Wasn't a great foul shooter, only 56% for his career. But this is a guy who's, for his career, was giving you 14 points, 22 and a half rebounds, and over 4 assists a game. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Not to mention 11 championships in 13 seasons. And by the way, not every one of those seasons was Boston dominant. 1969, right? To give you an idea of the difference in mentality between LeBron and Bill Russell, 1969, I think the Celtics were down 3-1 against the Lakers, if I remember serve correctly. And the Lakers were ready to celebrate. I think the game when they were in LA, they were celebrating. They had they were, I think the owner at the time of the Lakers, I think it was Jack Kent Cooke, the same guy that owned the Redskins years ago. I think he had like balloons to be brought down from the rafters. He was going to have champagne out, and the Boston Celtics saw this shit. In particular, Bill Russell, and he said, "You know what?" And the Celtics were old at that time. They weren't the dynasty, same juggernaut team. But you know what? They said, "You know what? We'll show these motherfuckers," and they won the series in 7 games, mostly because of heart. That was the same game where Wilt Chamberlain went out with the leg injury, and Bill Russell said, "I would have never come out of that fucking game. Never, for any reason." Game 7? Talking about Bill Russell not a top 10 player. That's your fucking mind. But back to the topic at hand. LeBron, once again, I blow it, LeBlew it, James. Every fucking time his team needs him in a pivotal moment, he defers. I've been seeing this shit for so long. For so long, this guy does this shit. I remember so many times with the Miami Heat, he would pass the ball off to a Mario Chalmers or somebody, a guy who's not built for that. Put all this pressure on him. Chalmers will miss a shot and he'll chew him out. Like, motherfucker, you're the superstar. You're the guy who's supposedly chasing the ghost. You step the fuck up and make the shot. Sick of the excuses for this guy, man. Everybody was talking about, oh, well, he put up 39 points, or he had almost a triple-double, or he had a triple-double. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. Yes, it was. Do you know why a guy like Elvin Hayes isn't seen on the same level? As great as Elvin Hayes was, do you know why he's not seen on the same level as, let's say, even a Kevin McHale? Even though arguably you could say that he was a better player, and Hayes does have a championship. One of the reasons is, well, you know what? Not even use that example. Dennis Rodman. Elvin Hayes was a better player, really far better player than Dennis Rodman. But you know why a lot of people knock Elvin Hayes? Because he had, like LeBron James, he would put up the numbers. Elvin Hayes would have 25 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks, right? But for some reason, down the stretch of games, especially in crunch time, he would fade. As a matter of fact, in the game where the Bullets won the Wizards won their only championship, Elvin Hayes only contributed 12 points. Not always like that, but more often than not, in clutch situations, Elvin Hayes had a tendency to fade. Which is why he's not mentioned among the top tier all-time great players. Great player, but not at all-time uber great. John Havlicek, clutch. You guys will look at John Havlicek's career 43% shooting percentage, right? I think it's 43.9%, which isn't great. But if you actually watch a Celtic game from the 70s, in those close pivotal games, you'll be like, are they sure he shot 44%? Because like he's hitting every fucking thing. When the game mattered, John Havlicek would show up. Bill Russell back in 1974, he may not feel the same way now, but in 1974, when asked who he thought was the greatest all-around player he ever saw, he said it was John Havlicek. John Havlicek, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Akeem Olajuwon, Bird, Magic, Kareem, even Wilt. All of these players, generally speaking, when the game was on the line, do you guys think that they would have fucking blown a lead like that? And then you got talking about, oh, well, LeBron was tired. Fuck you! Okay? Fuck you with that stupid shit. After I saw the flu game with Jordan, fuck you. Okay? After I see Kobe play with various injuries in a year and still take his team to the fucking playoffs with no fucking help. Guys want to talk about a guy who had no help. Kobe many times had teams. The team he took to the playoffs in 2006 was atrocious. And they still was able to get a 3-1 lead against the Phoenix Suns before they blew it. I've never seen a guy who gets so many fucking excuses for every fucking thing. I'm going to tell the truth right now. In my opinion, LeBron James is a slight hype job, man. Fuck it. He's a slight hype job. Fuck it. He is. I don't care what his numbers say. As of right fucking now, I'm going to revert back to my original position. He's not on fucking Larry Bird's level. I don't give a fuck how many stats or numbers he accumulate. He's not fucking Larry Bird, man. Larry Bird wouldn't fucking allow that shit to happen. Kyrie Irving deserves some blame too, okay? But you don't put that type of pressure on Kyle Korver. He's not, that's not of his element. And also, Michael Jordan may not have always taken the last shot. He may not have always taken critical shots, but he only deferred to players who he knew were comfortable in those situations, okay? Steve Kerr earned Jordan's respect to the point where he felt comfortable letting Steve Kerr take those shots. As when Steve Kerr made that shot from the pass from Jordan in Game 6 of 97 Finals. He felt comfortable with that shot. He discussed that with Steve Kerr. You guys saw it in the documentaries. What did Kerr tell Jordan? Just give it to me, I'll be ready. When you give it to me, I'll be ready. Before that, John Paxson earned that respect from Jordan. Jordan knew that Paxson was then ready to take those big shots. You understand what I'm saying? You don't just fucking pass to a guy and give him the world, pressure of the world on his shoulders and think he's going to make that shot. That's why I can't sometimes stand LeBron James. Because he wants all the fucking glory. He wants all the glory to himself when they win. But when they fucking lose, he wants to point to his numbers and blame others. Fuck him, okay? Fuck him. And if he leaves Cleveland, don't ever fucking mention this motherfucker in the same realm as the all-time greats that I previously mentioned. And another thing, too. Cleveland fans, LeBron fans, LeBron tards, some of you. This series is over, okay? Yeah, you guys came back from a 3-1 deficit last year, but the difference is those final 3 games in that series, 2 of them were at Cleveland. Draymond Green was suspended for Game 5, and what gets forgotten a lot, Bogut was gone for the majority of the last 2 games, if memory serves me correctly. Or it was the last 2 games. Bogut was not there, okay? And you guys eked out a 4-point win. I think it was 93-89 in Game 7. This isn't the same scenario. You guys are down 3-0. Two of those games are in Golden State, where you guys continually get blown the fuck out. If anything, Kyrie Irving is slightly hobbled with some issues with his knee. LeBron's going to fucking mentally pack it in. He's giving up. And I'm starting to think it might be true. He might fucking bail on Cleveland. And if he bails on Cleveland, being the fucking quitter that he is, it'll be the second time he quit on Cleveland. Don't ever mention this motherfucker with any of these fuck. Don't even mention him with Charles Barkley, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't give a fuck if Barkley doesn't have any fucking rings. Because Charles Barkley played. You guys want to talk about players who played with no one? With no one? After Doc retired in 87, Julius Erving, if you guys don't know who Doc is. After Julius Erving retired in 87, okay, after Moses Malone was traded in 86, after Andrew Toney, who wasn't really the same guy the last couple years of his career anyway, after Andrew Toney suffered that injury, then subsequently retired a couple years later, Charles Barkley played with absolutely no one. Someone in my comment section reminded me, probably the best player he played with during that stretch was Hershey Hawkins. Okay, this guy played with the likes of Armand Gilliam, Charles Shackelford, Ray rest in peace, Rick Mahorn. These were the better players he played with. And he still took his team to the playoffs. And one year, I think they won 53 games or something like that. Charles Barkley is an all-time great who had the horrible luck of playing with awful teams for the far majority of his fucking prime. And he's not on Barkley's level as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a fuck about rings. Rings are just part of your resume, man. Get this guy the fuck out of my face.